I think engaged is when you've selected auto throttle on and it's following the commands from fed from the FCU and FMGC. And when it's active, you've not selected it on, but it's there in case of the protections for the alpha flow. Yes,
Second
that
line
is
not
my.
interested. James, first line was good, second line not
Yes.
tasty.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? See,
Sir, am I audible now?
yeah, go ahead.
Sir, you were talking about that what is the difference between engage and active. So engage means it is waiting for some conditions to be met, but when those conditions are met, then the relevant system will be activated. Like for an auto thrust, it is engaged when we manually switch on the auto thrust before takeoff, and then when it is moved to the toga position, the lever, it will be like activated into the system. Then it will be further waiting for us to move the lever from toga to between climb and MCT, then it will become active again. So this is how things must be there to and those conditions must be met. Then system will again become active. And engage means it is waiting for some logics and conditions to be fulfilled by the systems. I hope I am answerable for this. Sorry
No,
for
you
the
are up to
discussion.
up to some level you are correct. Only one thing which I could not link it, which I'll explain you.
Okay,
See,
sir.
what you said is correct almost. What happened when you press the engagement button? Correct. You can press the engage button anywhere. You can
Yes, sir.
press on the ground and you can press in the flight. But engagement means it checks the software, it checks the input, it checks the output, that everything is available and serviceable.
Hmm.
For that particular operation, it is engagement.
Yes,
It
sir.
will active when a certain condition met. Certain condition means autopilot you cannot fly on the ground
Hmm.
because you are moving in the lateral direction. Aircraft cannot go into the three direction movement on ground. So it can be engaged to check the system that I or not. Can I go for the autopilot or not? When all the systems are healthy, then it will look for only one conditions. Autopilot, you have studied when the autopilot is engaged and active, 5 minutes, 5 seconds after liftoff or 50 feet after liftoff, it is active. But if you want to use the autopilot and engine is started, it will disengage. I hope you have studied in autopilot. Correct?
Sir, this we did not study, but this is actually there in manuals. This thing we
It
did
is
not
there.
study.
It is there in the training material.
Sir, actually, we did not study the training material. We studied the things in the CBT yesterday. So we missed the training material some points. Just like you discussed about the center of gravity calculation in the flight envelope. This was not discussed yesterday.
Hmm. Okay.
So whatever was in CBT, we discussed that. So thank you for adding the information, sir.
No problem. So engagement means it always check the inputs connected, outputs connected, as well as the software, means the required system. If you go for the autopilot, there are many conditions are there, right? Many computer inputs are there, many switch positions are there. It will check everything is in line or not. And then the moment aircraft is in flight, after liftoff, plus 5 seconds or 50 feet above the ground, then it will be active. Similarly, for the auto thrust, you engage it, it will ensure that everything is active. Even in flight also, it will not be active until unless the levers are at a desired position. What is the desired position? So engage means light will be on the FMA also you will see auto thrust, correct? All these things will be there. Engaged and active. When the auto thrust function is engaged, auto thrust is active if now. First engagement and then it will be active if. What is the if condition? At least one of the thrust lever is between climb detent and 0 means idle. one of the thrust lever has to move from zero detent. You have a two thrust lever. One of the lever has to be out of the zero detent. When it is out of the zero detent, your auto thrust is active. You can say one of the lever is at zero, another is at above the idle or maybe at the climb. So they are at the different. It is asymmetric thrust. But no, computer is very smart. It is designed. What it will do? It will take the higher side as a reference. It will always
Higher side
as a reference. You read it. If both the levers are not in the same detent, the thrust limit corresponds to the next higher lever detent. FMG select the highest thrust limit of FADEC 1 and FADEC. Clear? So even if your both levers are not at the same position, the FMGC is smart enough to take the higher side of the lever position and command both the thrust. He will command the highest thrust limit to the both. It will not be. I hope this is clear. So climb detent and the zero stop, and the most one thrust lever is between one thrust lever is between the flex MCT detent and climb detent for single engine operation. Takeoff mode. None of the levers should be in the flex or takeoff mode. Or alpha floor protection is active independent of the thrust lever position. Independent of the thrust lever position, wherever it may be. If alpha floor is detected, then auto thrust will be active without the lever position. In case of one engine failure, let's say one engine fail. Now the auto thrust active zone is increased up to flex MCT from 0. So your active thrust region was here, right? And now it is increased to bigger size because you have only one engine. In case of one engine failure, auto thrust activation zone is between flex MCT and 0 instead of climb. In two engine operation, it is up to climb only, 0 and climb. Since the auto thrust is active, your auto thrust function will control, that is commanded by FMGC. That is commanded by FMGC. So your auto thrust function will be controlled by FMGC. You will have a light on the switch. FMA will display you auto thrust in white color. It will display you in color. Okay, auto thrust engaged and not active. It is quite obvious. Auto thrust is engaged but not active. So what happened? It is as good as manual thrust. You got my point, guys? Auto thrust is engaged, but it is not. This situation will come when your lever of the climb detent. When your lever is above the climb detent. Do you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah.
Am I audible or freeze?
Yes,
No,
sir.
yes.
Our microphones off.
No. My microphone is on, I think.
No, we were silent because our microphones were off. Yes, sir. You were audible.
Looks like.
I think you are breaking a little bit.
Yeah, we're talking about auto thrust is engaged but not active. It means what? It is as good as manual thrust. Engaged but not active. It is as good as manual thrust. At least, why this situation happen? Why this situation is happen? at least one thrust lever is above the flex MCT detent. One thrust lever is above the MCT, flex MCT, or both thrust levers are above the climb detent. Then this situation will happen, except one engine in flex takeoff mode. With alpha flow, one of the lever is. So various conditions, the thrust lever position. Hello, again I am gone.
You are there.
You are here.
I lost again.
No.
No,
now
no,
we can-
continue.
If ever,
Let me come back again. This area is clear, right?
yes,
Auto thrust
Yes.
engage and active is clear. Now, what is the next is? Auto thrust engage but not active. As I said, it is as good as manual thrust. As good as manual thrust, not active. When this situation happen, when at least one of the lever is above flex MCT, or both lever are above climb detent. Means you are out of the active thrust range. You are out of active thrust range. Then auto thrust will not be there. You may be flex takeoff, but alpha floor is not active. Since auto thrust is not active, thrust lever will control the engine as long as thrust lever is outside the auto thrust active range. So it is as good as it is a manual thrust. It is as good as manual thrust. How you will know it is a thrust? Push button switch is engaged on, light will come. FM will show you auto thrust in cyan color. Now, this color will only tell you that you are engaged but not active. You are engaged but not active. Let's see with the diagram. This is your diagram. White color, engaged and active. White color is engaged and active. This light will come for engagement. But if this is cyan color, then it is engaged but not active. Clear? And we have already seen your auto thrust range is up to this. This is the auto thrust range in two engine operation. If you have a single engine operation, then it can extend up to this level. If one engine is shut down, single engine can do auto thrust up to flex MCT. Anytime, if your both lever are out of the climb detent, it is not active. It may remain engaged. You are in flight, but it is not active. Active will happen only when you will come back to this position. Okay, so anytime both the levers are here, not active, or anytime one lever is in this region. One lever in this region, one lever may be here, and one may be in this region. It is also not active. Correct. So various lever positions control the active or not active after engagement. Clear, sir?
Yes.
Flight guidance engagement status. Okay. Maybe your instructor, who was the instructor yesterday? Yesterday took auto flight or when he took?
Was yesterday.
Who was the instructor? This flight guidance mode. You might have seen this many times. Master computer, master FMGC, right? This will command, this will not command. So how you decide the master? Which one will be active, which one will be standby, or which one is master, which one is not master? How you decide?
Number one position.
Anybody else?
uh,
I think you mentioned something yesterday about the number one being the master all the time.
Sir, the autopilot one if selected, then FMGC one will be master. It will be providing then flight director and auto thrust FMGC.
Yes. It
And
will
sir,
not.
sir, in some other in 8832 we studied that like landing gear complete retraction and extension, then LGCIU changes their priority. So
Correct.
depending on different ATS we have been studying.
Yeah, but in autopilot in this FMGC condition, that is not the logic.
Yeah, this is the one we select from the if we select like autopilot one, then FMGC one will be on the priority side. I mean, will become master. Even command will be some like from FMGC one.
Okay, just follow this diagram. It's very simple to understand who will be the master, who will be the standby. Can you make out?
Yes, sir.
If, let's say, if autopilot is engaged, then your FMGC1 is master. Clear? Let us say autopilot 1 is not engaged, autopilot 2 is engaged. So what happened in this case? FMGC2 will be master, not the number 1. So who's controlling this business? FCU buttons. Who's controlling the master? FCU buttons. Either autopilot 1 or autopilot 2. Now let us say autopilot 2 is also not engaged. FD1 is engaged. So when the FD1 is engaged, again FMGC1 is master. If this is not, FD2 is engaged, then number 2 is master. Correct? It means if any one of this side is engaged, upper side should not be engaged. Only then it will be effective. If any one of them is engaged here, then it will take over the priority. So this is the priority, top priority going this way. Got it? Hello.
Yes,
It's
sir.
very simple logic. Nothing
Yes.
different, nothing great. Now, do you know that always pilot is flying? Or first officer is flying in the aircraft? Have you heard about the term PNF? Pilot flying, pilot not flying?
Yes.
Yes, pilot flying, pilot monitoring.
Pilot flying, pilot monitoring. Very good. So, pilot flying, it doesn't mean that it is a captain is always flying. It means the one who fly the aircraft, the other one will monitor. He will do the EKM procedures. So he will be not flying pilot. So the one who fly, he will engage his autopilot. That is a company standard procedures. You got my point? If pilot is flying, he will press autopilot 1. If first officer is flying, he will press autopilot 2. So both the FMGCs are used in that fashion. They can switch over many times in the flight. It doesn't make any difference. Clear?
Yes.
Only thing is both the autopilot can be engaged only one time when the aircraft is in descent, approach. Once the approach button is pressed, only then they can engage the second autopilot. And when the second autopilot is engaged, then number 1 will be master and number 2 will be standby. Clear?
Okay.
In approach mode, both can be engaged. Number 1 will be master, number 2 will be standby. In any other conditions, both the autopilot cannot be engaged. In any other conditions. Even on ground also, even in flight also. So there is a specific conditions for auto land where both autopilots are engaged, but I am not sure that pilots are flying in autopilot. 99% they fly into the visual rules, right? Or they go for the simulated auto land and then manually they land most of the time. Correct. Until unless the visibility conditions are poor, they cannot take, then they will go for the auto land. Right. What is next? Flight guidance priorities, FD priorities. FD will engage immediately after power up. At the power up, both the FD will normally engage in split configurations. Means FMGC1 will drive the FD symbols on captain side, FMGC will drive on first officer side. Clear? FMGC1 will drive on captain side, FMGC2 will do on the first officer side. That is a split configurations. One FD2 indication is displayed on the each FMA, flight mode annunciator. Each flight mode annunciator will show you one FD2. Now let's see the diagram, then we'll come back again. Can you see here in this diagram what it says? Your both FMGCs are working. Your both FMGC are working. So switches on number one side, number two side. Both switches are engaged, green color. FMGC1 is working, so it will supply the indications on FMGC1. Sorry, PFD1. FMGC2 will supply on PFD2. And what the message you get here? 1 FD2. Correct? Clear, guys?
152, yeah.
What is the message? 2. It means both FMGC are working. Number one FMGC is supplying the information on PFD1. Number two is supplying on PFD2. Respective side. Very good. Now, let's say one FMGC failed. In this diagram, one FMGC failed, switches is still green. Switches is still green. So what happened? Now the remaining FMGC will supply the information to both PFDs. And FMA will show you in a different caption.
152.
Now it is 2FD2. Now it is 2FD2. Means FMGC1 is not providing the indications for flight director. Both the indications are coming from FMGC2. Hope this is clear.
Yes, sir.
Same is 1FD1, it means number 2 is failed. Correct? Isn't it, guys?
Yeah.
Now let's see some more experiment on this. This light is not on. This light is not on. This is not engaged. So what indication you will see here?
The minus FD2.
Very good. So dash FD2. You will see like this because it is not engaged. Correct? So this is the position of engagement and the number show which FMGC is providing the information. This is the position for number one FMGC. This is the position for number 2 FMGC. Clear on both the screens. In case both FMGC fail, you will get the FD flag. Right? You will get FD flag Now FD bar will not be there, but there will be another function active at this time. Navigation backup. So navigation backup is a special function which is available in MCDU only. And it is only selectable when both FMGC fail. You cannot select it when any one of the FMGC is working. You cannot select when any one of the FMGC is working. You can only select when both FMGC fail. And then you will see on the ND, you will fly aircraft on backup navigation. In case of loss of both FMGC, ADIRS parameters can be optionally retrieved using backup navigation on MCDU. So with the help of ADIRS, you will fly because FMGC is not there. Clear, sir? Same is with autopilot. If one autopilot is engaged, corresponding FMGC control the flight controls through flight control computers. It means the master FMGC will give the command. Master FMGC will give the autopilot command. Autopilot command are going to the flight control computer. There is a no priority logic in single operation. In single operation means single FMGC operation. The last engage autopilot is active. The last engage autopilot is active. Means what? If you engage autopilot 1 and now you press the autopilot 2, so autopilot 2 will engage, autopilot 1 will disconnect automatically. Now you press again autopilot 1, autopilot 1 engage, 2 disconnect. So the last one which you pressed is engage. Previous one will be disengaged. Clear? You can do all these things when sitting in the cockpit. Nothing will happen. Always you can go to the cockpit, aircraft is powered, just press this button. Nothing will happen.
So the backup nav, which system does it use for it to function?
Your flight plan will be available on MCDU because MCDU is continuously keep on getting the flight plan for FMGC. Considering
Yes,
that it can fail anytime. So that's why the backup plan will active when FMGC input is not coming. Okay, so it is available in both MCDU. Only thing is MCDU will not interact with FMGC now because both failed. Either of the FMGC is working, it is okay. Okay, you can engage both autopilot, which I have already discussed. You can engage both autopilot as soon as approach mode is selected on flight control unit. AP1 is priority, AP2 is standby, and flight control computer will use the AP1 command. As simple as. So this is AP1, AP2 buttons are there. FMGC1, FMGC2, and they communicate to each other. Flight control computer will get the command from master. Let's see the status here. Now, this example will show you everything. This is an example in front of you. Can you tell me which is master?
Autopilot 2 is master.
Very good. So autopilot 2 is Atom master, and who is sending the auto thrust command?
FMGC.
Which FMGC?
So FMGC 2.
Yes. So full control will be on FMGC2, master FMGC, autopilot and auto thrust. But flight director bar FD bar will be going from the respective FMGC, as long as both are working. FMA display. This is the FM area. I'll show you through the PPT. FMS. So FMA is flight mode annunciator, which is on the top part of the PFDs. Top part of the PFD is flight mode annunciator. It displays you the thrust values, lateral guidance, vertical guidance, engagement logics, landing capabilities, etc., etc. It will show you. So this area is called as FMA, and FMA information is coming from whom? The three type of information on the FMA are auto thrust mode, APFD mode, flight management, that master FMGC supply both FM. Who supply? Master FMGC will supply both FM indications. Auto thrust information, APFD information according to the logic. What is the logic? At least one autopilot is engaged. What is the logic? At least one autopilot is engaged. Then master FMGC will provide all information. At least one autopilot is engaged. Then master FMGC will supply both FM indications. But if autopilot is not engaged, then respective FMGC will supply FM information. Then respective FMGC will supply FM information. Without AP, with one FD fail or manually disengage, opposite FMGC will supply FM. It's all nice to know information, so which you can see here. Master will supply. If one fail, another will supply, or the serviceable will supply both inputs. One FD to one FD. Clear? Any questions, guys?
Okay.
Clear you FMA in bit more CBT program.